Miss Universe podcast.
Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here?
Miss Universe podcast.
Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here?
Miss Universe podcast.
Oh, goodness gracious, he's funny. It's just, oh, good Lord gracious. Seriously, it is Friday. I should not be recording on Friday. I say that. And oh boy, I am glad this is the last recording for today. And we are Friday. Woohoo! Oh, I'm having way too much fun here. So I saw something very interesting today. And I really like this artist, Selena Gomez, who entered the Billionaires Club as one of the youngest self-made billionaire, which is nice because I really like her for authenticity and who she truly is. And it's very nice to be able to see individuals to really see them succeeding, but loving what they're doing and the passion they have. And it's the younger generation, but I'm talking actually about this topic, but to everyone who, and it doesn't matter how old you are, I don't care how old you are, but if you have a passion for something, live your passions, okay? Don't let anyone rain on your parade. That to me is something that you don't want on your deathbed. Have the regret to say, oh, if I did this, if I did that. Einstein said it when he was interviewed that one of his biggest regrets is because he did not play it enough. Meaning he worked too hard and he did not play it enough, and he understood if you play more, then you can create more. And that was his biggest regrets. And there is people who said, well, if I did marry this one, or if I did to have that trip here, I would have gone and visit this, or I would have done this, or I would have been, if I wasn't afraid, I would have done and changed my my job, my professions. I would have done something else. We're in a world where accessibility to the new things, being able to be more innovative is absolutely phenomenal, and we should embrace. And it doesn't matter how old you are. It's not based on your age. It's based on what you want to do. Like I take example of KFC. I should search others as well. Who he was retired and in his 60s started that franchise, and it's all the way around the world. KFC is still going strong, but he started in his 60s. How crazy it sounds. Crazy, isn't it? Simple invention, simple innovations. But I'm glad for this young lady because as I said, I really like her. I like her authenticity and her honesty. She is very humbled for what she does, and when I saw it, I smiled. And by looking what she does, her multiple stream of incomes is what made her the billionaire. She has a line of beauty product. She has her songs or albums. She does TV, series shows, movies. And she has something for health, mental health. So she's a creative individual. Now take on this, and what are you good at? What are you creative at? What do you know? What are your hidden skill sets? People don't. People have no idea most of people have no idea what they're creating skill sets or what they are really good at, because they want to be one-dimensional. But we're not one-dimensional. We're multifaceted individuals. So what are you good at? What are your skill sets? Do you know which one are they? Have you tried something that scared you but was so exhilarating to realize you were good at? Have you ever done that? Have you ever thought you would be able to do things in your life that really empowers you? What is your answer? What are you good at? Well, if I was looking at what I was doing, well, the drawings, what I've not drawn for, I don't know, for quite some time, for a year or two, I think. For a year, at least. Yeah, or two. I love cooking. Cooking is one thing. Well, my my uncle is a chef, so which still you can still burn the food, but I like the cooking. Cooking is good, or even eating different cuisine, which I found it so good because the palate, you develop your palate with that. What did I do? I did fashion school. Yeah, that was that too. Computers, operations, analyst, CFO, writing, which is funny. Actually, I always found it ironic at some point. And my podcast, and I love to do podcasts and storytelling, audiobooks. So there is different skill set we have. And I took upon a wish, my little wish list, on taking on those challenges. It's so interesting when you start to put on paper what you want to do. And then you're being guided by the universe. Somehow over the rainbow, things open up for you. I shared a story about how I started my podcast. And for a refresher, people don't remember that. That was part of my wish list when I started officially my business, meaning I got my LLC set up, blah, blah, blah. And one of the wish lists, I got my little wish list. I had my list. It's not even a wish list. It was a list on that cupboard, tuck in. And February arrived, and I was cooking in a kitchen, and I'm hearing the flop of that piece of paper. Okay, so imagine it's winter. I don't have any windows open, and I'm not running around. I'm cooking. And I didn't have the dogs. I had cats at that time, my cats. So I'm like, okay, turn around. I'm like, okay, universe, what do you want about that list? And I don't know how many items on that list, but the first thing I saw was podcast. I'm like, okay, you want me to go and start the podcast? Fine. Stop the cooking. Went directly into the office. Google how to start a podcast. And by way of perfect synchronicity, Audacity showed up, the software, so I downloaded it. Podomatic, which is my podcast host, showed up. I look at microphone. I ordered it. And I'm like, okay, we'll start to do that. Not a problem. Took a day or two, don't remember. Got the microphone, one of the microphones. The other one I could not plug it in. I'm like, really? So got this. And I'm like, okay, well, let's see what we can do with everything else. And I started like that. And how do we start a podcast? Okay. So at the beginning, I did not have any music. Then I found the intro and exit music. And I did it on my own, which is one of the most challenging things. It's when you're in front of your computer and I have no idea what I'm going to talk about. So I took my blogs first and I read the blogs. Then I did for half an hour a talk. Let the universe do his things. So I had my little routine, shaky booty, take a time, light up a candle, blah, blah, blah. And as I continue to evolve, things evolve as well, where I was able to, and that application, that app doesn't exist anymore, unfortunately, but I put myself into an app where other podcaster could connect with you, and you could actually host and be a guest on podcasts, which I did, which was great. Then by way of perfect synchronicity, went from talking with individuals to interview individuals, which it's cool. Never done that, but came naturally. And from there, starting to talk on live show like Wisdom. I still have to go back in there and do a live one. But it's the kind of things that takes form on its own, meaning you start with one thing, and from being on the front of your laptop recording, like I'm doing right now, see the evolution of where you've been from doing it via Zoom, from doing it internationally, because I talk to some amazing individuals around the world and have great content. But being able to have a conversation, because the hardest part is a lot of those guys that I talked to had a co-host, which is easier to do it with a co-host actually. The hardest part is just sitting in front of your computer and have a conversation. Unless you're a little cuckoo for cuckoo puff like me, it's like, yeah, I can talk. I can talk to anything and anywhere. I talk to the trees, I talk to the dogs. I talk to in the car. I talk to when I'm in front of the shelves, when I pick up something. So being able to be relaxed enough and comfortable. But those are the great things because that's part of the evolution. Not only learning about communication, but learning how to speak better, learning to face individuals you have no idea who they are, adapting, being able to interview them in a way that is positive and get something very knowledgeable about. This is absolutely wonderful. Having interview or talk to people that I have no idea who the freak they were, and like on Wisdom, and I say freak, but really, Wisdom, people will come and listen to you, and some will want to come and talk to you. You have no idea who they are. You can agree to disagree with them, but it's how you communicate and the understanding and being able to really move from a shy personality or somebody who's more, I'm good on the front of microphone, but I'm not with other people. It's evolving in a communication level and understand the key of communicating properly. What are my words are saying? Because words mean things to different people. They'll be surprised about it. So it's very interesting to be on the front of the computer and sharing your story. That's another big thing because we learned when I grew up, we were segregated. Good lordy. Oh, yeah. The town didn't like us at all because we were not born over there and because my parents were not born over there and blah, blah, blah. So those little small 1,500 people town, imagine for a little bit, and you're being segregated from that town because, oh my God, you're just not born here. You don't have your grandparents here, born, blah, blah, blah. So learning about being segregated, keep it to yourself, learning to rely on yourself, not sharing any stories, then deciding one day, well, it's time maybe I open the veil. And I'm going to lift that veil and share some of my stories. That's amazing. Being able to share those stories so people that listen to those podcasts, to those episodes, understand that I'm listening to this for a reason. It's like music. It's like everything you come across. It's not a coincidence. It's synchronicity. There is always something you're going to get out of it. Different situation, different people, but parallel situation, if you know what I mean. Have you ever had somebody in your life where things were happening in parallel with them? And you're like, holy crap, this is happening to you. Oh boy, that's going to happen to me too. But being able to transmute, translate, let go about situation, about people, but sharing the story as an observer, which I think is the most challenging part of it, because sometimes you just want to squeeze the other person. You don't want this. You want to say it the way it is, and sometimes you don't want to share that story, but you're going to share it because it's so important. And that's the best part of it. What is important to us? So when you're looking at the skill sets that, okay, I need to stop for a sec here, the recording, because my pups are distracting me. We are back. I'm not cutting anything I'm saying right now. We like it raw. We like it honest, all right? So think about the skill set you might have, you're not sure, and test it out. Because at the beginning, I always said we need to go messy. Okay? Don't take yourself too seriously, because when you start to put some expectation, I want this to be perfect, blah, blah, it's going to crumble. Okay? You have to go messy. When you listen to the first episode I had to when you're listening to me right now, there is a huge difference because one, I can pick up my mic and I do that every single time unless there is a topic I want to talk to. I have no idea what I'm going to say. I have no idea. I'm just going to go with the flow. I don't add a structure to it because this is a conversation with Emma in the universe. So no, we are not putting anything that will have a structure. I don't mind structure, but this is not who I am. Oh, yeah, it is who I am. I'm structure, but not when I do my beautiful podcast. So that is something people need to understand on this one. So when we're looking at this, we are looking at being able to really be in a good place. Yes, a good place is a good place. So, we are looking at having that peace of mind and being able to reach out to a place of wonders. And this is what we need to do. This is what we are open to do. And that's that wonderful place we're in. So when you're looking at who you are, look at how much you can provide in your era, in your beautiful shell. Who are you? How can you make things so beautifully when you have never tried anything? And come with an open mind. I love to discover what I can do because I can do so many fun things. I love it. But it is very difficult when you don't have these possibilities because you restrict yourself. You have to open your mind. You have to be able to really push yourself to the next level. And that is the key when we're looking at the evolution of who we are. We are not a one-trick pony, even so we think we are. When you start to discover things, what you like to do, think about when you were a kid. What drove you to do things? And what do you really want to become when you're looking at everything you have done in the past? I feel that often we are afraid to go on the adventure of a lifetime because of where we are surrounded, who surround us, because sometimes we think we're going to go crazy and people are going to think we're nuts, which, we are our own imagination. We are who we are. And being able to really fulfill who we are is something that is beautiful. But making sure that at the end of the day, we can surprise ourselves with a beautiful foundation. And that foundation is critical when we're in a position of growth. So the question is, at the end of the day, what makes us evolve? Then as being curious in our lives, being curious of who we are, being curious that the life we're living in is one of the best life we will ever have. But this comes along with shading like a snake our old patterns. And we are in a place where it's great to see if at the end of the day, are we in the right space or not? Are we where we need to be? And that is what we need in our lives. That's the beauty of it. Now, do you know all of your skill sets? That would be the question. Do you know who you are? Because it takes a lifetime to discover who we are. And I believe that as we go into the growth and the wisdom where we are, then we realize very quickly that things change and evolve, which I love, actually. I love when things change and evolve. And that's the beauty of it. That's what makes us into this beautiful world. We are in a place of being committed to ourselves. But as you grow and evolve, you will surprise yourself if you look back at few things you maybe have done in the past, that now you're changing and switching gear than you would ever believe. By looking at it, you made those changes, or you will look back and say, wow, I was crazy, I have done this and that. But the fun part is that there is always a great opportunity for us to grow and to learn who we truly are. Again, think about yourself as like a diamond. We have multiple facets. We could have 72 different facets. As we grow and evolve in our lives, those facets will start to show because we're changing and evolving. And all of those skill sets we had in the past is for us part of our little toolbox, but we have so much more. Seriously. We have so many skill sets that we need to take the time to discover ourselves, to have the awareness of which of our skill sets starting to pop out to the surface, and embrace it and taking care of it and nurturing it so we can continue to grow and evolve. That's what it's all about. So this was our podcast for today. Yes, I hope you can take something out of this one, because seriously, there is so many hidden talent we have, but if we don't allow ourselves to let them come to the surface, we're kind of losing a little bit of the purpose of why we are here today. Seriously. So, all my love, guys, and I will talk to you later. Bye now.
Emma's Universe Podcast.
Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here?
Emma's Universe Podcast.
Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here?
Emma's Universe Podcast.